You know, I hate to say it, but I feel like some of the choices that Marvel fans are coming up with as potential replacement directors for Doctor Strange 2 are actually kind of basic. Who am I kidding? I love saying it. So last week, news broke that original Doctor Strange director Scott Derrickson has chosen to drop out of directing the upcoming sequel, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, citing creative differences. Now that could mean a lot of things, and I'm not going to speculate on what those things may be. But I am here to talk about potential directors that could replace Derrickson on the film. And just looking at what some of the fans are already pulling out, it feels really obvious and really basic. Like, yes, Jordan Peele directing would be great and fabulous, but it's obvious. Move on. James Wan, yes, he's already done a comic book movie, so it's not like it's beneath him or anything. But again, this is an obvious choice that I feel like everyone is already made, and it's not like anyone's putting any real thought into who could be a good director to direct Doctor Strange 2 now that Derrickson is left. At the end of the day, I feel like whoever Marvel Studios ends up getting to replace Scott Derrickson, it's going to be someone who probably isn't very high profile. It's going to be someone who has a lot of smaller films under their belt, and someone who is probably just primed to get to the next phase as far as their career is concerned. And also someone that the studio can easily shift in whatever direction that they want this film to go so that it can connect to all their other projects. Let's be real about this, okay? But bearing all of that in mind, I do feel like the names that I've come up with for this list are some pretty viable candidates that I feel like Marvel Studios should consider. Number 5, Panos Cosmatos. I'm fully prepared to admit that this is the least likely candidate to even be on Marvel's radar in any scenario, if we're being perfectly honest. And even for myself, I look back at my response to his first film, Beyond the Black Rainbow, and I found it to be incomprehensible, mind-numbing, and for the most part pretty stupid. But in watching Mandy, I found myself not necessarily outright loving the film, but appreciating it and understanding it. And that's saying a lot because it goes in some crazy psychedelic directions that for a lot of people, they seem to gravitate to it. But I remember the first time I saw it and I thought to myself, I don't know what I'm supposed to get from this. And then upon my second viewing, I actually started to warm up to it a bit more. But I just kind of look at the whole gritty, trippy, doom rock aesthetic to it. It's a very colorful film, and I feel like that's kind of what you need for a Doctor Strange sequel subtitled The Multiverse of Madness. Wouldn't you agree? Number 4, Joe Cornish. I still legitimately regret not seeing The Kid Who Would Be King in theaters. It's not as strong as Cornish's previous film Attack the Block, but at the same time, it still showed that he had skills as a director, especially within genre films, within fantasy, within sci-fi, within horror. He's got all of the skills to make those types of films work, and I think that it would be a great opportunity for him to shine in the Doctor Strange sequel, just to see what ideas he might come up with, how he might use his comedy background to make the humor work a little bit better and maybe not be as forced as it is in other Marvel films. I also feel like Marvel Studios has a thing for tossing a bone to directors who are legitimately talented but may have been relatively unsuccessful early in their directing careers. So I feel like Cornish is more than worthy of that type of opportunity that you might have seen with guys like Joss Whedon and Shane Black. Number 3, Karen Kusama. I admit, I kind of had this director on my blacklist for a while after the travesty that was Aeon Flux, where they basically said, let's take everything interesting about the cartoon and not use any of it. But I feel like her recent films, including Destroyer and The Invitation, and even if you go back and rewatch Jennifer's Body, I think a lot of people are now kind of coming around to that film and really appreciating it for what they were trying to do with it. I think you have a lot of great examples of the things that Kusama is really strong at as a director. I think she's great at building characters, and she manages to pace the films really well. And she also has this kind of moody, atmospheric aesthetic to her films that almost feels really dreamlike, and I think that's something that you could definitely apply to a character like Doctor Strange. Number 2, Hiro Murai. From directing some visually stunning music videos for artists like Childish Gambino, The Fray, Massive Attack, and Flying Lotus, to directing some visually stunning episodes of television, primarily for the FX series Atlanta, I feel like Hiro Murai has more than proven himself to be a great visual storyteller, which I think is really important for any Marvel film, as well as having a very minimalistic approach to visual effects that can easily be translated into a larger comic book based film. I think that there's an energy that he has that has put him in the position he is in now to do bigger projects and be able to have more of a wherewithal in how to communicate with the visual effects team to make sure that whatever you were planning to do for Doctor Strange 2 ends up being something truly unique and very much having the potential of being even more visually stunning than even the first film, if I'm being honest. Number 1, Sally Richardson Whitfield. Yes, I know I've already suggested her to direct a live-action Gargoyles film, but hey, maybe doing a Marvel film first might create the inroads we need to get her in the director's seat for that first film. A guy can dream, right? Now, it doesn't seem like fans usually pay much attention to television directors when it comes to suggesting directors to take on a big budget comic book based film, but I feel like if you look at Sally Richardson Whitfield's resume, you'll see that she has been preparing for this for God knows how long. If you look at her credits that include shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Luke Cage, The Punisher, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, Doom Patrol, Black Lightning. If that isn't enough of a resume to be even considered as a replacement director for Doctor Strange 2, I don't know what is. And I think that obviously we've seen how the Russo brothers have done, having come from directing comedy shows like Community, and now they're the guys that everyone kind of swears by as far as Marvel. Like, we look at the Russo brothers as gods because of what they've been able to do with the Marvel films they've directed. So I feel like if anyone deserves a chance like that, it's definitely Sally Richardson Whitfield. She's coming to you with all of this experience and saying, hey, I am ready for the big leagues. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you've got your own suggestions on directors who you would like to see take over from Scott Derrickson on Doctor Strange 2, go ahead and leave a comment in the section below. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell, share this video with your friends and family, and if you'd like to keep up to date on more At Random videos, you should go ahead and hit that subscribe button, which should be appearing right over here.